We are here today with mayoral candidate Renea Dauntes. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, what led you to want to run for mayor?
That's actually an interesting question. I wanted to be an agent for positive change on a national level after, all of the craziness that went on last year. Towards the end of the year, I realized that we, as people, have the opportunity to create and build our own futures. And I was talking about that with someone at a dinner at Christmas, and they asked me if I had done things on a local level or state, and I told them no, but I had my reasons, the ones that I had rationalized in my head. And for about 24 hours, I realized that I sounded like a jerk, because if I was going to be an actual force, an agent for positive change on a national level, and I and my friends were sort of miserable in the city that we lived in because we didn't felt like we were being heard, or that our city didn't really take us into account, then I had no business trying to do it on a national level. So I decided to try and become that agent for positive change in Amarillo. And the number one reason I chose the mayoral position was because that's the best way to become an ambassador for the city. Not just a place on the council, but to be that person who can lend their voice and their support to the citizens as well as the city government.
Okay. What's the first problem that you would want to address if you were elected?
I use one phrase, and that's civic pride. Our community has a bit of an identity issue. We have spectacular people living here. We have an amazingly diverse community. We have incredible artists, musicians, great restaurants, fabulous local businesses. We have so much to offer, but for some reason, so many people say, Amarillo. So one of the things I would really like to focus on initially is civic pride. So that means volunteerism, serving on boards and committees. If you don't like something on the way the city council's handling something, giving your voice to that problem, that conflict that you'd like to see resolved. Being mindful of trash, being mindful of kindness and compassion for our fellow neighbors and the people that drive through our city, of course. But I think taking the time to say, listen, we are all in this together. We need to all work on this together, and focusing and showcasing all of those people that have really important roles in our lives, everything from a city worker who's in sanitation to the doctors in Medi Park. Everybody in this city has something to contribute, and the civic pride would help focus and encourage each other throughout the city. And as soon as we start doing small things like picking up trash or serving meals to the homeless or supporting local musicians or artists, that's how our city becomes a community rather than just a big machine.
Okay. Now, city council's been kind of dysfunctional, to put it mildly. What would you do to remedy that?
Well, to be really honest, the idea of civic pride helps that a lot. I think that one of the things that we need to do is find common ground. And if the only common ground that I have with someone right now is that we both live inside the city limits of Amarillo, Texas, that's fine. We can build on that. So there are opposing viewpoints, absolutely, with different council members and within the city government, and that's perfectly okay. That means that there's a diversity there that is going to challenge us and allow us to grow. We're not always going to get along as far as our ideas and our ideals, those things that drive us and our values. We have a responsibility, though, to represent the entire population. So no matter what my beliefs are, we have to be able to set those aside for the common good of the city. And I think encouraging one another and accepting those positive traits of caring and kindness and compassion, we're able to become more unified, and we trust one another not to talk behind each other's backs or to be challenged, but not challenging with one another. We're all in the same team. We're all in the same boat. We have to decide what direction we're going to go, and then we work towards it. There's the old adage, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. A little bit of kindness and compassion goes a very long way, and our city sees that, and we need to lead by example. So it's important to realize that with change and with growth comes adversity and challenging and dissenting opinions. It also means that we also have to be civil with one another.
Okay. A lot of focus has been on downtown revitalization. What about other areas of the city?
Oh, that's my favorite part. I live in San Jacinto, and there's a San Jacinto coalition that's going on right now that's working on gardening, that sort of thing. And there are aspects of that celebration of a particular neighborhood that can be applied in all of what people are calling aging neighborhoods. Amarillo is a very old city. We've been around for over 100 years now, and it is full of historical treasures that we could feature in each one of our neighborhoods. Downtown is a spectacular place to go and hang out. There are other places in the city that have just as much history and just as much vital importance. And on top of that, there are citizens there that have been a part of this community for their entire lives. And so much of what I would like to see happen is those individuals who are entrepreneurially minded would be able to have the ability to open businesses in their communities, or they're able to reinvest in their homes where they can actually live there longer, and their children can then come in and live there later. We have a sensational population, and I think it's time we focus on each one of them in their own special way. We can't do the same thing for the North Heights neighborhood as we will for San Jacinto, but we can give that same amount of time and energy. We just don't have to use the same plan. Each neighborhood's different. Each community section that makes this big city work is different, and we just focus on the people that live there and how we can improve their well-being, as well as participating in the bigger group of the city itself.
Okay. A couple of previous mayors, Mayor McCart and Mayor Harpole, very accessible to the public. Mm-hmm. If you were elected, would you continue that practice?
Absolutely. Throughout the campaign, my cell phone number is out there. People can call or text. I'm on Facebook, and I've had meetings with many people who just wanted to know more about me. They didn't know me from Adam. That is cool. I love that. One of the things that I would like to start as the mayor and being that ambassador for the city is having chances for people to come out and visit and share in experiences. So going out and listening to live music. I love to do that, and I do that as often as I can. And I would invite people to do the same thing and come with me. If you needed to talk about something at City Hall, fine. My door will be open. I will make myself available. I don't even mind going to people, because I understand that getting away is hard and sometimes impossible for some people. So I understand that, but I want it to be a way that people see their voices are heard and represented across the board. I represent everyone in this, not just a small select few, but everybody. And I think being able to come up and say hi whenever I'm having a cup of coffee is perfect. I want people to do that. If I met every single person in Amarillo, that would be fantastic. I would love that opportunity.
Okay. Well, Renee, thank you for coming in today.
Certainly.